So the Buffalo Bills just got named in a crazy NFL draft day trade. We're going to unpack that today. The Bills also welcome in their fourth nose tackle in for a top 30 official visit. Is Buffalo trying to tell us something about their intentions? And last but not least, we were linked to a day 3 wide receiver that I'm not very much a fan of. So I decided to give you my replacement, somebody that Buffalo should target instead. All of that and much more on today's edition of the Mafia Report, or your daily Bills news roundup. Folks, you already know the drill. I need each and every single one of you to hit that thumbs up sign for me. Sound off in the comments. Let me know where you are tuning in from. I'm always curious to hear how far Bills Mafia truly extends. And subscribe to the channel. Goal is 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. Let's unpack it. Folks, in case you missed the news, the Buffalo Bills have now brought in their fourth nose tackle, or your run-stuffing defensive tackle. I acknowledge the fact that Leonard has already gone on record saying that he is not going to be targeting a traditional type nose tackle, somebody that lines literally eye to eye with the center. He's going to want them to be a bit more versatile. But based off of the names we've brought in so far, like Caden McDonald, we have been linked to Christian Miller out of Georgia. Same thing with Grayson Holton out of Oklahoma. The fourth guy that was brought in was Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. And I got to tell you, I think that this Texas Tech defense is going to be the star of this 2026 NFL draft class. Not just for where they're drafted. I think several names are going to be drafted right in the top 100, but I think all of them are going to have absolute insane careers. Lee Hunter is a run-stuffing defensive tackle, somebody that can shade off to the left or right shoulder of the center and really be that plug-and-play type player that could really take this Bills defensive line to the next level. He's 6'4", 318 pounds, and he will be 24 years old in his first season in the NFL. Per Sumer Sports and their draft guide, they have him as a chaos creator and run stuffer. He's not somebody that's particularly going to be, lighting up the stat sheet with sacks. He's a bull rush type defensive tackle. He's more of that big body. He has his gap responsibility, and he is going to stay there, right? 0 pressures from the D gap. He's never lined there, right? He has 12.4% pressure rate out of the B gap and a 5.8% in the A gap. But again, he's pretty much stationary. He's just like your fridge type player that dares opposing running backs to run at him. Now, as far as run defense, he's sitting at a 4.2% run defense grade, and he's likely targeted to go right in the early second. So if Buffalo were to take this guy, this would only be after Buffalo trading down from 26 into the early second. I'm really hoping that Buffalo is able to grab an additional third-round pick as well with a move like this. Now, as far as Lee Hunter is concerned, he's not my favorite. I think that he tends to get a bit lazy when he realizes that his gap is not being targeted. He gets gassed relatively too soon. Based off of all scouting reports and things that I have watched, I see that he is very much a guy that would be much better suited as a rotational piece, somebody on early downs, run downs specifically. He's not going to be your 3-down type nose tackle. But again, that's something that could very easily be fixed with conditioning and or coaching. Now, why I bring this up is that a lot of Bills fans are against drafting a nose tackle that early. But when you look at all of the top 30 visits that Buffalo has had so far, I got to tell you, folks, it's looking like that's a pretty big priority for this team right now. Like, a lot of us want to stop the run. I think that was our biggest issue when it came into the defensive side of the football last year, at least consistently. A larger issue is stopping third and longs. I think that really boils down to coaching. But do you want to draft a linebacker early that can help stop the run, or do you want to draft somebody that is going to have first contact against the run game, right? A nose tackle is going to be your first line of defense, slowing down said player. So I'm probably one of the few that's not all that against going with a nose tackle, either at 26, but it better be Caden McDonald, or trading down for a player like Lee Hunter or Christian Miller. we'll see. It sounds like the Buffalo Bills are at least doing their due diligence. You let me know in the comments section how you feel about all of that. Now, folks, right before we dive in to the big trade rumor, I need to give a giant shout out to our good friends over at Prize Picks, the number one place to win money while watching sports. So I ended up winning a lineup last evening with my beloved Buffalo Sabres for clinching home ice and the Atlantic Division last night. You can go on ahead and take advantage of this. The second that you sign up using the link in my description, the second you play your first $5 lineup, you will be blessed with $50 instantly as long as you use code HMA. A giant shout out to Prize Picks for being a proud partner. And let's move on. Ladies and gentlemen, the Buffalo Bills have been linked to a crazy draft day trade. And draft day trades are a thing, right? They really are. And in fact, we're already hearing rumors that this might be one of the most exciting draft day trade drafts we've seen in quite some time. And if you were to ask many Bills fans, a lot of people still want a wide receiver. Maybe they're hoping Jordan Tyson falls to 26. Some of you are Casey Concepcion, Omar Cooper people. Well, let me tell you what. It looks like the Buffalo Bills have been proposed to be in a trade with Marvin Harrison Jr. and the Arizona Cardinals. And let me show you what this trade package looks like. The Buffalo Bills would receive Marvin Harrison Jr., and the Cardinals would receive a 2026 first, which would be 26 overall, a 2027 third-round pick, and wide receiver Keon Coleman. Now, I want to ask each and every single one of you in the comments section, would you make this trade? In my eyes, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. Was more so of a lack of a fit to offense, opposed to being a bust or in more of an underwhelming type wide receiver. I don't think him and Kyler Murray have ever really gelled. I think that he dominates in between the numbers, and Kyler Murray, quite frankly, just couldn't see over the offensive line, and that wasn't his bread and butter. And they asked Marvin Harrison to be somebody that he wasn't. Now, like, you look at his career thus far, he had a bit of a regression back in 2025, although that he did miss his share of games. I still think that he has a lot of potential in this league. So if you were to make a trade for Marvin Harrison Jr., you have DJ Moore on the outside. You have Khalil Shakir out of the slot. You have Dalton Kincaid as your starting tight end. And then you have Josh Palmer. And then maybe you have some other fringe wide receiver that could be like a backup. I think that's one of the scariest rooms in the league. I think that he would gel perfectly with Josh Allen and this team. What helps is that he would still be on his rookie contract. He's entering year 3, so it would be very cheap. And the only thing we would be walking away with is our first-round pick. Draft day would be boring because we wouldn't be able to select until toward the end of the 3rd round, and it would likely look like that we would need to wait to really spend some quality capital within our defense the following year. But sound off in the comments. Link to this trade, named in a trade, should the Buffalo Bills pull the trigger if that opportunity is there. You let me know. Speaking of wide receivers, I got to tell you what, the Bills were linked and are reportedly very interested in wide receiver out of Connecticut, Skylar Bell. All right. He has met with the Buffalo Bills twice. I want to say that it was a Zoom meeting, and then I think that it was also a combine visit and perhaps even an official visit. But rumors are flying that Buffalo really, really likes this guy. Now, as far as what you need to know about him, he was wide receiver number 1 for the UConn Huskies last year. And I got to tell you, man, solid season. He had 1,282 yards. He had 13 touchdowns. He had 12.6 yards per reception, and he mostly lines out wide. He's very versatile. He has a lot of experience out of the slot. You can put him everywhere. I joke around with Bills Mafia, and I say, I wonder why the Buffalo Bills are so interested in him. And would you look at that? The only route that Sumer Sports has him categorized as elite is the screen. 31.2% of his routes last year were a screen, and he had 44 targets behind the line of scrimmage. Now, as far as athleticism, he runs a 4.4. His 10-yard split was sitting at 1.53. He's 6 foot, and he's 185 pounds. So he's relatively undersized. Now, should the Buffalo Bills target him? I mean, probably not. In my eyes, I think that he does have a pretty significant dropping problem, although that he did clean that up in 2025. And I don't think that he has much of the size profile. And I hate putting myself in that corner because it's that type of energy which made the Buffalo Bills pass on Ladd McConkey and go for Keon Coleman. They drafted Keon Coleman, in my eyes, as a prototypical size draft selection. They were looking for the big body guy and they passed on talent, right? So with Skyler Bell, sure, like, yeah, I see why he's so popular as far as yards after the catch and as far as athleticism. But at the end of the day, I feel like we already have somebody that fills that role. I feel like Khalil Shakir does it very well. I feel like DJ Moore does it very well. Like right on top of that. So I have actually found somebody that makes a bit more sense for the Buffalo Bills, and they are considered a day 2 or a late day 2 wide receiver pick. You bear with me. Right before we get into that, though, if you are located in Western New York, young men or maybe older men, and you have always been curious about various TRT therapies, maybe you want to hear a little bit more about GLP-1 treatments. Maybe you want to hear about peptides. Maybe you're a gym rat and you haven't pulled the trigger just yet because you have a lot of questions. I highly recommend you look up Game Day Men's Health, located in the Buffalo Amherst area. They have the best experts possible that can answer all of your questions that would give you enough information to make a decision if you would like to move forward. I highly recommend you go book an appointment with these guys. They do wonderful work right over there. And then you can get all the information to make a decision if you want to put your health first. Sound off in the comments and let me know. Have you been to game day? It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Guys, the wide receiver that the Buffalo Bills need to target is Ted Hurst. If the Buffalo Bills don't go for somebody at 26, we don't make a shocking trade for Marvin Harrison Jr. on draft night, sending Keon Coleman to Arizona, we need to be targeting Ted Hurst at the back half of the draft. He has been my guy since I saw him at the Senior Bowl. And I hate comparing players to current players. I really do. But I got to tell you what, man, he reminds me so much of George Pickens. He's 6'4", 206 pounds. He runs a 4.4 40. He has yards after the catch capabilities. He has the contested catch situation. The only reason I think why he's a late day 2 pick is due to the fact that he went to Georgia Southern, a Sun Belt Conference type league. He was a wide receiver number 1. He had 28.3% of the team target share and 32.1% of his routes ran well against press man coverage. He has no problem. He has no problem going against physical DBs. In fact, he wins quite often. And the beautiful part about it is that if Buffalo is looking for somebody that likes to get vertical and succeeds getting vertical, I mean, he's your guy. I mean, 24.8% of every route he ran was a go. And then he's also very quality in the slant game. When you end up looking at all of his other route tree, I think that this is one of the more impressive ones. I mean, he's definitely more of a vertical guy, but he is such a well-rounded type athlete. I think that he would be the perfect fit for this Buffalo Bills team. I don't think that his skill set is very redundant. I feel like that he would be like the DK Metcalf that I believe that my buddy Kevin said Buffalo has been looking for a long time for. If Buffalo can wait, pass on Skylar Bell, and hopefully somehow draft this guy right in the late 3rd at the end of day 2, Buffalo fans itself should be absolutely ecstatic. He is that guy. He is indeed that guy. Ted Hurst, he's my target. You sound off in the comments and let me know your thoughts on him. Guys, other than that, that's going to have to do it for another edition of the Daily Buffalo Bills News Roundup. I'm going to need each and every single one of you to like this video right now and subscribe to the channel as well. Like I said, 100,000 subscribers is my goal by the end of 2026. I know that we can get there together. Let's grow this community to new heights. Love each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tapping in with me, and I will see you tomorrow. Go Bills.